Hey everybody, welcome back to Ravenstead. It's time for another build. I'm going to be using a craft knife here. Don't worry, I don't cut myself, so just enjoy the video. I wanted a sunken road. This is going to be not exactly scatter terrain, more of a vignette. Not so much a diorama, but so a playable piece. So I cut out these two hillsides with a hot wire cutter and then cut in some sharper edges with a craft knife and textured it up a little bit there with a wire brush. I get another level in here, so I'm just going to carve away a little section. It kind of adds interest to a piece when you have a lot of different levels, and also makes some interesting playable areas. I'll roll in a little texture here with some aluminum foil, just a little ball of aluminum foil. That gets rid of any factory surfaces, kind of blends everything together. I wanted to create kind of a little texture, a little different elevation down in this road bed, so I hit it with a heat gun. I could have been a little bit more aggressive with it, but I didn't want to melt all the way through the piece. So I'm pretty hard with the aluminum foil in there, getting good deep texture. I'll glue these down, and I'm going to add a couple of deck screws into there. Not so much for stability, but it gives it a little bit of weight. And I'm going to texture up a little bit of foam here for some lumber, using that brass brush to kind of score in that grain look to the lumber. I wanted a little watchtower looking over this section of the road, so I'm just going to build that up. Cut up my lumber here, and this is going to be the deck, and then we'll build a little wall around it so it'll have some cover. Be a good place for an ambush. So using the hot glue here, anytime I'm doing a long run of blocks or wood or something like that, I'll just squirt a little bit of it, put a few pieces down, because the working temperature is pretty short. I built the walls kind of log cabin style, lap the joints on the corners. Now we're going to black bomb this piece out with Mod Podge and black latex paint. I need to get some of that absolute black paint for the sides if I'm going to do more of these vignettes. And then we'll go in with our dry brushing. It's just a medium gray. Going all over the rocky surfaces with that. And then some medium brown for the wooden parts. And then we'll do some highlighting with a light tan color and then a light brown. I decided to put a little bit of that brown down into the stone in the bed of the road to kind of pull everything together. Most of this gets hidden by the flocking, but I think the tones still play where it does shine through a little bit. Your eye will pick it up. So I do that light gray all over everything, the wood and the stone included, and then we'll go over it with some washes. This is burnt umber acrylic ink mixed with water, a couple drops of jet dry in there to help it flow. And that goes over everything. And then some green highlights. That's just a bright green or true green acrylic paint mixed with water, 50-50. That goes on nice and thin. I do this wet on wet technique, so each layer of wash goes one over the other, kind of blends in together. And then a little Vallejo rust wash, just to give us some red contrast. The rocks that I put in the road bed are actually pieces of hardwood charcoal. If you've seen the video I did with building a rocky structure out of charcoal, it ended up working out pretty well. Now I'm just going to paint on some PVA glue and sprinkle on some fine flocking. We've got a lot of different types of flocking we're going to use for this. We got the fine flocking, and then I chopped up some preserved moss, like sheet moss. I just got it at the craft store. Ground it up really fine, and that'll go in the road bed, and then here and there everywhere. It gives it kind of a leafy, dirty look. This stuff I kind of had to press down a little bit to get it to stick, but yeah, it did pretty well. Now we're going to go in here with some medium flocking. That's a Woodland Scenics medium flocking. Just needed a little bit more texture. It was looking kind of flat. Not flat in color, but flat in texture. Get a good coat of this on here, and then I kind of press it down to make sure it sticks to the glue. And we'll knock off the excess, and that'll give us some nice variance in texture. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I've been using chopped up lichen to make vines, so I just paint on little strings of glue and then stick on that lichen to make vines. A couple of shrubs here and there. A little bit of preserved lichen, tuck it in. I spend maybe 10-15 minutes picking off glue strings, but I like using the hot glue. It makes the project go by pretty quickly, so I can just go from one thing to the next without too much drying time. Have to be mindful to keep my playing areas open. I had a little glob of glue right here. I'll show you how we fix our mistakes. Just going to remelt it with the tip and then add a little more, and then we'll just stick a little flocking on there. So if you make a mistake or you've got an area that you don't like, you can always hide it with a little bit of flocking or clump foliage. One last little piece, and I'm going to give you a look. There we go. Let me spin it for you. This is the Sunken Road. Appreciate you guys watching another video. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got videos coming out almost every week now. I've also got a Patreon page we've started. Love for you to check that out too. That looks like trouble coming down the way there. Perfect. Fell for the ambush. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it.